Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Proving Grounds Pod, your one-stop shop for all things Proving Grounds. My name is Max, and I'm joined by my constant co-host, Cubby. And today, on this fine Tuesday, the Weed Day, we have with us a very special guest, Golden Guardians Academy's very own jungler, Rosethorn, former alumni of Team Fish Taco as well, which we will be referring to him as for the rest of the show. Only in Team Fish Taco, only in terms of that team. But
what about
Rosethorn? How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be with you guys here on this podcast on Weed Day.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be on the 19th, but Smacks had to
true.
rebuild the PC, so
Yeah.
Yep.
we're good now. So yeah.
As you can see and or hear, I am functioning now. The PC works, which is very good news.
Everything looks the same,
for
but
me.
it's different.
Yeah. So ideally, it will look better when I'm appearing on streams, and I won't pull a Cup Season 1 where I just like completely glitch out, which hasn't happened in a while. But ideally, that never happens now. So
That's good.
That's the goal. But anyway, enough about me. Rosethorn, you're here as the jungler for Golden Guardians Academy. You've had a tumultuous season, I think it's fair to say. You guys placed 9th overall in the Academy regular season. You guys participated in Cup as the only Academy team. Made it to playoffs where you quickly were eliminated by No Org, but who hasn't been eliminated by No Org, really? And then you took first place in Giant Slayer, which is awesome. The reverse sweep against Evil Geniuses. And then we've got you here now off of your top 8 finish at the Proving Grounds playoffs. So after that whole recap, how have you sort of been feeling about I guess the afterward of what's been going on in the spring split?
Yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster of my first split, but I mean I said this before, like I'm like disappointed with how it ended, but overall like I've definitely made a lot of progress and learned a lot, and it was a lot of fun playing with my teammates and learning with the LCS coaches who were like assisting us towards like Giant Slayer and Proving Grounds. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy about how my first split went.
Yeah. And like for you, like kind of diving back into how this split started off, and also like I guess last year an amateur to like get here. Obviously, Team Fish Tacos didn't pan out for SGC, but you qualified through solo queue for Scouting Grounds. Ended up on Team Cloud, I believe, paired up with was it Niles and the rest of that game?
Yeah.
And went from there straight to Golden Guardians Academy. And what was honestly like for us was a pretty fast and impressive leap, right? Because we didn't think that highly of TFT. You guys didn't have the best split, but you ended up climbing really, really quickly and really proving yourself to be like one of the up and coming junglers that we have in this ecosystem. So for you, like, what was it like going from an amateur team that was like somewhat struggling to Scouting Grounds, where you ended up getting picked up immediately by an Academy roster, and you were all of a sudden like competing in Academy?
Yeah, I think me getting picked up by Academy like really fast was just something that was like super lucky, but I think a lot of Academy teams are like just looking for people who are really willing to learn and improve, and just like throw ego aside and just really be open to all kinds of criticism. And I think I've showed that the most. I performed well in like their like Golden Guardians, like their in-house tryouts, and like that's where they were really like I guess interested of me after. Team Fish Taco was like my first competitive experience, so it was kind of a wash. But I think my experience after with Zenith, that like there I had a much better experience, and I had a bigger like understanding of what I wanted to do. And like that's around the time when I had my tryouts, and then like a month after that was Scouting Grounds. So I think
Right.
yeah, overall I got very lucky, but it's definitely not as difficult as like people may like think it is.
Right, because and like to be like almost like to be clear and clarify too, like with Team Cloud, which LCS coaches worked with Team Cloud? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think it was Cloud9 and TSM, and most of the time it was just Westrice helping.
Okay.
Like who was coaching us, and like every once in a while like Peter Zhang would come in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then were the GGA tryouts like? I remember because they did a lot of in-houses with Maryville as well. Between like those teams, were you like a part of those as well? I know like you weren't a part of like the Maryville squad, but like you probably ended up trying out with like Niles, Iconic, and those guys too, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think there were a few days where like the academy, like Golden Guardians, would try out with the entire like MU squad,
Mhm.
and there were days where it's like just like Golden Guardians and other players that they were interested in, and then I think like later down the line when they were like shortening the list, it became like more mixed with Maryville players and like players like me. Like I remember playing against Iconic a few times in those tryouts. So yeah, we were all involved in it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember like talking specifically with Zoo about like how cool it was the fact that they were like mixing in the academy teams and the Maryville team to do like a 10-man, like mixed 10
Oh
mans.
yeah. Yeah.
That's like huge for a collegiate team because that's a little bit more like the background I come into. But hey, I mean, I think it shows like the thoroughness that teams go through to try out talent, and the fact that you were selected out of that. That's really awesome. As you mentioned, it was your first split playing competitive, and pretty hyped to get a roster spot in academy. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I was pretty hyped. I was like,
Yeah.
I know that they were like nice enough to let like other analysts and like coaches like participate in it,
Mhm.
and I just remember like Ida was like, wow, for some reason like you're performing way better in these than in like our own scrims. And I'm like, I don't know, it's just happening. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. So you were on Zenith. I actually I'm glad you brought that up because Zenith or Zenith was the team that sort of was molded and became the Evil Genius Prodigies.
The core, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were you ever slated to be a part of that lineup, or were you already in for Golden Guardians by the time that was being brought up?
Right. So I think initially, like when Zenith was first created, like in August, I think, like Ido like told us like, hey, we're gonna like the plan is for us to get picked up by LCS org and be like 100 Thieves next. So we're gonna be a tier 3 team. So he was like going around like kind of I guess like advertising us, right? And like it was after SGC, so like not a lot of good teams are scrimming. Like it's I think consistently scrimmed Maryville. But yes, I don't. If I didn't get an academy spot, I don't know if I would have been on EGP. But initially, that was definitely like the plan. Like for me, initially, that was like where I was gonna stick with until I got the GGA offer.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't have to get like too into that either. I know that's like some off-season move and stuff. So
yeah, I kind of know what happened behind the scenes anyway with that because of like the order of operations that happened. But yeah, it was. I mean, it ended up working out pretty well for every party involved, right? Because obviously, you ended on GGA, and obviously, as you talked about, you improved a lot throughout the split. We'll get into that, but also, hey, it made space for Tomio, who's a damn good player too at 17, and I think that he, turned a lot of heads with his play too. So it was nice that both of you ended up being on that roster at one point and both kind of making well out of the situations that you guys were in throughout this season as well. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very happy with how EGP did. I'm very I'm
man.
friends with some of their players and they really like popped off. So that was really great to see.
Yeah, that team is really good. And I'm really curious to see where some of those pieces go. A little bit off topic, but like Shiro, like damn, Dan's really good at this game. So
Dan is insane.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where a lot of those players go. Because hey, with as any good tier 3 team, right now, EG, they have an abundance of talent. We've talked about that a lot on the show. So yeah.
So speaking of you and Tomio, you were part of that Scouting Grounds 2020 jungler pack. Also iconic. Actually, you know what? Before we get to that, I need to know, were you as his Golden Guardians jungler, were you the one who told Iconic that the name Zaun sounded dumb?
No, I did not say. I actually thought it sounded good. I like Zaun. I think Iconic's better though, but Zaun sounds pretty cool.
It is definitely better.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
Iconic's better.
Yeah, I remember that. And I was like, oh, what are you doing? And he like swapped it back, and I was like, oh, it's like okay. It's like I wasn't exactly sure, But
Yeah.
hey,
It
he figured it
works.
out. Yeah, he figured it
I,
out.
I remember I remember doing SG. I'm like, yo, is it Zoun or like Zone? And he's like, dude, I don't know either. And I was like, oh, okay. Sure,
That's
dude.
amazing. He must have picked in time for us to
Yeah, we
test it,
asked
'cause
him
we
about the
had to ask him.
pronunciation, and he's
Uh-huh.
like, it's like noun with a Z, and we're like, okay, we got it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's really funny, actually.
We had a bet going. Rebel
Yes.
Fox won the bet. He was the one who said that it was Zoun. I was like, that sounds dumb. I think
But
it's
see,
the other way.
Rebel works with Maryville though, so he has inside
Yeah,
information.
he had the hack.
Yeah, I'm gonna what is it, the gambling association on that one? Yeah, he was working with insider info.
Yeah, I'm just bagging on Iconic. I love him, but yeah,
That's pretty funny.
Iconic is just a better name, and he already had it, so
Yeah.
It's an iconic name.
exactly.
True.
But yeah, I wanted to know what your thoughts were on just your pack of junglers that came out of that event, because all
Mhm.
4 of you got picked up by, well, LCS organizations. 2 on Golden Guardians. We had NXI go to FlyQuest Academy, and then Tomio on the Prodigies for Evil Geniuses. I believe that is a record. I believe that is for at least for Scouting Grounds. I think it's the only time that that's happened. So how are you? How did you feel about that like pack of players, and how you guys have sort of been developing individually over the course of this split?
Yeah. I mean, I've been very like during that scouting rounds, I was pretty intimidated by that pack of junglers, and I'm sure if Kenvi was not like going to academy in the middle of summer split, like he would have been there as well, or
Oh,
like
yeah.
he would have been there instead of one of us. So yeah, it's definitely like really stacked, and I know coming in I was like, oh god, this is gonna be like super hard, and I think like my start initially was like Cloud, we started like 0-4, and I was like super sad about how like scouting rounds was going, but I think we all turned out really good. Like clearly, we've all had like success in academy and like we're doing well. So
Yeah,
um, it's it is definitely like an impressive year, I guess, for scouting grounds.
I mean, 13 out of the 20 players Scouting Grounds ended up getting picked up. It was
Oh yeah.
we said
Academy
going
or
in.
LCS.
Yeah, we said
That
going in
doesn't
it was a
count
good
players
crop.
like Tomio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, hey, like, like we were watching Scouting Grounds like all last year. Like, hey, like the talent here is pretty good, and
Yeah.
I'd say that like even I'm surprised about talent like got produced. And yeah, I mean you're right about Kenvi, but 100 Thieves is smart. They put an engagement ring on that and said, keep this. This one's mine.
Yeah.
And the tenacity, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think partially it's because like orgs this year were like more willing to try out new players, but definitely
Yeah.
like even the ones who didn't like get picked up, like a lot of them were subbing in, and like there were a lot of like I guess that's one thing that made COVID a little fortunate, where a lot of players did get like substitute opportunities, and like for one, like Keel ended up getting in like an actual spot too. So,
Yeah.
but it was definitely the scouting rounds was really good.
Yeah, I mean, when budgets for half the teams that are associated with the NBA orgs, right, they lost 20% of revenue from COVID. All of a sudden, they have to make cuts. Like, you can't import talent anymore. And so you have to turn to NA talent, where you guys don't already have an established brand or name. So it just ends up being a cheaper price tag. And they're forced to kind of take a harder look, which I'd say ended up panning out pretty well, because it doesn't feel like the quality of play in Academy this year has dropped. I think at LCS, the quality of play I've seen hasn't been as good as some past splits, but Academy actually felt like it was really competitive this year, which was fun.
Mhm.
No.
I haven't watched Academy too much previously, but I would think that like the quality of players did get higher, and definitely the added like 3 like super amateur teams like also increase the quality of competition too, because like some of those teams, man, it's like it's kind of not fair that they're like amateur.
Soul
But-
Fide wasn't even in like proving grounds,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
That would have been insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Like the quality of play has like increased.
I before we move away from the scouting grounds, I do want to add that with the introduction of some of the LCS amateur teams, if you count those, then actually 75% of scouting grounds was picked up by an LCS org, because that includes Tomio and also Captain Shrimps.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We initially had it at 13, but if you want to include that, then it's 15. But anyway, I wanted to ask like a similar question, but about the Proving Grounds playoffs, because I think anyone who's been like on the broadcast, or anyone who's like really into that tournament, has jungle and also AD carry as like the most stacked role of the entire tournament. Is that something that you also feel the same way about?
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of LCS like level like 80 carries, and same with junglers too, I guess. And then even like in amateur, like a lot of those amateur junglers and 80 carries could be like academy level. So, uh, yeah, it was. I agree. It's definitely pretty stacked. It was
Yeah, man, the
tough proving
junglers
grounds.
coming in from amateur like Anda, Fnatic, Tomio, like that is it's not a cakewalk for any academy jungler, right? Like that's
Yeah,
Anda's making a case why he should be an LCS. I mean, with the setups that him and Viper and Noorg have had, is they're on their way to a guaranteed top 3 finish, no matter how the other best of fives go. And I think they might have made the argument they're the tournament favorites for the entire thing. As we
Thursday's gonna be fun.
yeah, we'll get into the rest of Proving Grounds a little bit later, but I mean it's been really fun to watch. I think the top line talent's also not too bad either. I don't think that it's like jungle and AD. There's definitely like a plethora of people where you're like, wow, this player is really good. But top lane as well. Like there are definitely some standouts, and I know that Viper's been like, I think an MVP for amateur for sure, but also might be the best top laner at the event as well. So it's pretty crazy.
yeah,
How much talent is stacked in those 16 teams. And hey, it's made a hell of a fun tournament to watch too.
yeah,
Yeah, I know that you guys are bummed that you're out a little bit early, but I know that like for you, like kind of getting into GGA and like kind of how their like your guys' split went. Obviously, kind of starting off Academy, it's a one best of one round robin, right? Only going once. 9 games isn't a great sample size, but you guys took ninth and instantly started competing in other tournaments as well. You were the first Academy team to compete in Cup. I'm curious. I don't think we asked Prismal this, but like, were you guys as players like involved in that decision to compete in Cup at all? Is that something like you guys like were pushing for? Or was that more management?
right. So, like I guess like academy manager Jonathan or Kamikaze Platypus, he was like he came up with like that idea, like he like suggested it
Mm-hmm.
and thought it would be a good idea for us to get more games since like me and Yumbi were like really like getting stressed in like this
Yeah.
official games. So I mean, we all like agreed we're like, yeah, this can only be good for us, and like like we're all down to play more league. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I mean we weren't the ones who brought it up, but we definitely like agreed with the idea that it's a good thing.
Do you think that's something that you'd want to do in the summer split also?
Yeah, probably. Like, especially if summer also is just 9 games, like, then I really hope like other academy teams who are like complaining about only 9 games, like, decides to play in like the tier twos, because I'm sure it'll change, but and like depending on the scheduling, like maybe it'll be harder, but uh if we're only playing 9 games, only like more games can only help. So
I
yeah.
know that we've seen some of the scheduling for some of the TOs, and it's not going to overlap with LCS days or Academy days in the next split.
Mhm.
So I think that they're posturing to set this up so that more teams can compete, which is,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's fun, like just higher levels of competition, right? Like having
Yeah.
Academy teams can only help. And I think amateurs proven that they're at least worthy of, you know, I think it's worthy now for academy teams to drop down and compete because some of the amateur teams are pretty hard to beat. I mean, we've got one's going to finish top 3, and EGP and Zeus had very respectable finishes as well. And even the teams that dropped out early, like Wildcard, gave both their best of 3s. They gave the academy team a run for their money. So,
Yeah,
um,
agreed.
yeah,
I think I think it'll be a little complicated if like every academy team wants to
yeah,
play in them, but like adding like 2 academy teams like can only like help like those academy teams and like the amateur teams as well at the tournament.
yeah. Like we'll see, like org wise too, like what they want to do because like a team like C9, like
Mhm.
copies a newer face, but everyone else is like pretty experienced, so it could
Yeah.
be like kind of damaging for them to compete is the concern if things don't go well. I would love to see them not take that angle and just embrace the competition, but I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious to see what it's going to look like because I'm hoping that more academy teams do want to compete because, I
Yeah.
mean, better tournaments, right? Can't complain.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
speaking of the Challengers Uprising tournament that you participated in, which stretch of this Proving Ground split would you say has like improved your development the most? Whether it be like you as an individual or you like on the team and like your team's taking really big strides. There was the Academy regular season, there was Cup, there was Giant Slayer, and then there was this playoffs.
It's definitely really hard to say. I think like the early like part of my season, like the regular split was like where I was really like starting to figure out like how like jungle's actually supposed to work. And like I've never been used to like a full clear meta where it's just you just do like the same thing and you're just like looking for your own natural timer. So it's like really like I don't know, it felt really boring for me, but it
Yeah,
felt
man, you want
and
Rek'Sai
it felt
at
very
least.
unnatural. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Where's the Rek'Sai?
Yeah. But definitely I think like as a player I grown most through like the Giant Slayer through like Proving Grounds like playoff stretch where I think that's where I was able to figure out more of like there was just so many official games to play during Giant Slayer where it's like I can like really figure out like what I'm supposed to do and like how I'm supposed to feel. And like during that like break too, like that's where I also like had like my biggest struggle in terms of like figuring out how I'm supposed to like navigate bad scrim results because I was like, you know, on the high, right? We just won Giant Slayer. I'm like, we're uh like we played in Northern Arena and we had a decent showing there too.
Mm-hmm.
And then um we were doing badly in scrims for like a week and that really like got to me where I was like, oh my God, like I feel like we're regressing. Um but yeah, I think just that entire like 1 month time frame was where I like really improved the most as a player and figured out how I'm supposed to perform like in official games. Like what I'm supposed to do.
How much of that would you say was learning the game and learning like as a team, or your confidence in like what you wanted to do and
Mhm.
how you were playing the game mentally?
I think how I think part of it was learning within the team, but it was more about like what I'm supposed to do, like my own role. And I can't change like what my teammates are gonna do, and then I can only like um change like my own like mental state and how like I'm performing and what I'm thinking and like just what I'm doing in general. So definitely most of it was just like about me in terms of my own improvement.
That's kind of fun to hear because obviously like you guys went from being ninth in Academy, not able to compete in UGP just because of how the system worked. And then Giant Slayer, the reverse sweep against EGA to win it all was really hype. Not only that, but the losers bracket, you ran
run.
through the
Oh yeah.
entire losers bracket as well to get that done. Which was, I mean, we were sitting here like, I don't know if like both Academy teams like make, or all three Academy teams like make it out. If like they only sent four, it's like who makes it
Mhm.
between like CLG, GG, and EG. Like we're like every team needed to improve a lot at that point. And you guys definitely showed up when it counted. It was really fun to watch. Especially like as you mentioned, like you and Yunbi, like Yunbi all of a sudden like in Giant Slayer, like his mini map was fully functional. Like he like randomly like, get caught out sometimes, and that's stopped. And like when he's farming at 10 CS a minute, he just becomes a beast, right? Because he's really,
Yeah.
really like an impressive mechanical player. He was able to show that, and then you started working a lot more with him and your support, Chime, which was great. I mean, and all of a sudden you guys became a force and won the entire damn thing. But it's funny that you mentioned like the scrim results, like having to like navigate that, just because like usually we hear about like we only see what's going on stage and like that
Mhm.
impression. So it's kind of funny to hear like you guys were actually struggling in scrims, like kind of had to navigate through that,
Oh,
especially
it
afterwards.
was bad.
Yeah, just
It
getting
was some
like
bad
murdered
stuff.
every game, like every
Oh,
set.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
And then like we play like our first like set against Norg and we're like I mean like even though we lost O2 we're like wow, we're actually like pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like really like after that I was like okay, we can do a lot more in like the lower bracket for proving grounds.
Yeah, so to start off for like getting more into proving grounds, like how you guys actually did like in the tournament, right? First
Mhm.
off, you drew hands down the hardest quadrant, like no
Yeah.
questions asked between
Yeah.
the four teams in that
I mean,
quadrant.
Team Liquid knocked out right away. So
Yes, no org.
Yeah.
goes to show you.
You guys who had won Giant Slayer, No Org had won the last 3 tournaments they competed in amateur, including UGP, which included 2 academy teams.
Yeah.
Barrage, who was criminally underseeded because they were the only team that top forward in all the tier 2s, and then unfortunate circumstances led them to not qualify in the next 2. And then TLA, who had just won Northern Arena. Like, if that's not the hardest quadrant in all Proving Grounds, then I don't know what is. But you dropped 0-2 to Norg. No shame in that. Norg have yet to drop a game in this tournament. And then you 2-0'd TLA. What did that feel like? Like, overcoming one of the best academy team, like, for the entire season until, Proving Grounds.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was definitely like one of my biggest wins because I think our team in general and me and personally, like, we struggled against TLA and I struggled against our Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of it was we had really good game plan going in with like our drafts, but like that win made us feel like, oh yeah, we can definitely go really far in this tournament and like we can be really good. And like for me, it was definitely like a huge confidence booster getting that win.
Yeah, it definitely boosted my confidence in you also. So
yeah, that was
for what that's worth.
That was the surprise of the tournament for me. I had TLA going into the tournament as the team to beat in the entire thing, and they went out 0-4, which was a huge surprise. I know
it was all a ploy to get our Mayo to play in the finals.
Oh,
yeah,
true.
Yes. He almost saves NA. But I know that like we don't know what like is going on with like TLA. Obviously, like none of us know like what's going on like behind closed doors. But like when you guys played them and like got the 2-0, like did you feel like it was the same team that like you had like played against an academy and like potentially scrimmed against throughout the year, or like were they just like were they missing something for Proving Grounds? Because they did not look like the same squad to me at least.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I definitely think they had something going on. It could have, for all we know, it could also just been like a bad week, because they played 4 games and having 4 bad games is like it happens, and sometimes 4 bad games is all it takes to like get knocked out of a tournament like in playoffs, which is like really sad to see, but like that's just how it works, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean that quadrant was tough. Like any teams that were going to come out of that quadrant were going to be battle hardened, like ready to take on the rest of the tournament. But of all the teams to go out like first between those 4, TLA was my last guess.
Yeah,
to be fair.
agreed.
Like I said, they were my tournament favorites coming in. Them going out 0-4 for me was like the big surprise of the tournament. But anyway, moving on from that. So taking that, you guys took that momentum, end up going up against Zeus, an amateur team with anchored by Alorum. Some nice talents on that roster, specifically for me, Darkwings and Rhino. Raheen and RBM rounding out the rest of the roster as well. You were going up against RBM. 2-0 against them, which was pretty controlled on your part. What were your thoughts about that best of 3?
I mean, I was really confident going in. It's just I think we match up really well against their team in general. Like everything, like all of their strengths, like we just do better. So I wasn't too worried about that. I also think Darkwings had a particularly bad day on that in our series against them. So yeah, it was pretty clean. I think our second game we were having some fun a little bit. We were like chasing Kiana for like an entire minute at one point. But
yeah, the Kiana was a bold pick from Darkwings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taking some notes from Quantum on the ladder.
Yeah, no, that champ is so annoying when you can just permanently stealth.
Dude, if anyone's not familiar with quantum physics, his Kiana is actually disgusting. It's one of the best on the servers. I was really surprised to see that from Darkwings. Like the entire split, he was like Ori, Azir, Syndra, Victor, Kiana. Oh, whoa.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
Raheen told me
more Azir too.
a few days before, like Raheen was like, "Yo, we got some spice cooking up. You better be ready." I'm like, "Yeah, Kiana, some spice." You really brought out the different drafts for sure.
But you were able to dodge it, and that was a pretty controlled 2-0 from you guys. I definitely feel like Prismal and Chime are like from the outed team, perspective. That's like third party. Prismal and Chime in lane are one of the stronger 2v2s, and I think that's where Raheen and Rhino struggle. Like is in lane. I think Raheen got 2v2 killed like every game they played this tournament. Yeah. So if he patches up Wayne, that's like definitely how that player could like take the next step. But I think I had you guys like 2-0 Zeus just because I thought you could deal with the flanks and also your bot lane just be miles ahead. And that's kind of what happened. As you guys did that. And then going up against 100 Thieves. So that was actually a really interesting series because 100 Thieves looked terrible in their loss to go down to the losers bracket, right? They got blasted by
They didn't
EG.
look great against CLG either.
No, so they played IMT, but
Yeah,
they got.
I'm talking about first round too.
Oh yeah. First round they dropped a game to CLG.
Right, yeah.
Then they got blasted by EG, and then Immortals gave them a series. That said, they definitely came out not quite as strong against you as they did against EGP, but that was a good best of 3 to watch. Like, how did that one feel, kind of playing that one out? And to be frank, I haven't seen the tape on that because I was internet free for this entire weekend in Iowa. So I got to go back and catch up the tape on that one. But I heard a lot of good things about that best of 3. How'd that one feel playing through that?
I mean, game 1 obviously felt really good because that was like our like really easy win. I also think all 3 games were like decided very fast from draft, but we got really, at least personally for me, I think I got too overconfident after the first game, but yeah, it's depressing to lose like that, but I really wanted to beat 100A, but
yeah,
happens.
Yeah, that's the fun of competition, right? There's only one winner in the end.
Yeah.
And 100A definitely after that 3 over EGP kind of reclaimed their dominance, but they have a rematch against EGA, so we're gonna have to see if they can continue.
That will be fun to watch.
The first rematch so far.
Yes, I mean EGA, dude. Contracts is Nidalee this tournament. Holy smokes! I was surprised they got 2-0'd.
They won without it.
They were 2-0 by C9A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very surprised.
That second game was like really bloody, really close, but
yeah.
I mean, they obviously still look really good, and I think whoever they play against, like I think they'll beat 100A, and whoever they play against after, it'll be like a really close showing for sure.
Okay, so let's get into that territory actually. How do you have the games playing out, or not playing out, but like results only? We'll go with that.
Yeah, so I think EGA will beat 100A. Like I just feel like they're like the mid jungle that Kenvi and Demonte have. Like I just feel like Jojopian and Contracts is it better, especially since Contracts is like really on form right now.
Yeah.
And like Jojopian seems to play like literally every single champion that like pairs with Nidalee and like all of his other champions. Like I think he's the only one like who still plays Tilia too. So
yeah,
it's
APA
it's
is
gonna
out
be
of the
a really fun
tournament.
game.
Yeah. APA
Yeah.
would have been playing some Tilia, but he's
true.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the series where he played Tilia, I said on the cast that he owns the copyright to Tilia Jungle for Proving Grounds. So
Yeah.
yes, he's very, very good at that champ.
Anda's going to be coming after that one, by the way. Anda still plays Tilia. I think that's the only other player.
I would like to see it, Cubby. I'd like to see it.
Same actually.
Anda's Tilia is pretty gross.
But yeah. So EG over 100. And then what about the winners finals?
Oh man, I mean, who knows, honestly. But maybe Norg's just too good. They'll just take the whole thing. So, like, I think Norg has been looking much cleaner, especially, especially since C9A had like much like easier first 2 opponents. So I would say Norg will take it.
Fun fact,
I mean,
Max.
C9. Oh, what's the fun
Anda's
fact?
Tilia is 9-2 this year in amateur. So
Damn.
yeah, we're gonna
That sounds pretty good.
We're gonna have to see if it comes back.
Yeah.
They were running setups with like TF set with
Right.
Tilia early in the season that were pretty gross.
That sounds like no org to me.
Yep, that's the Norg we know and love. So yeah, we're gonna have to see if he pulls that out though in that match. But okay. So you've got EG beating 100, and then upper bracket. We've got who's
he said
dropping?
that no org might be good enough to just win it all.
I think Norg will beat C9, and then
I think Norg's the favorite, man.
Yeah, they are definitely the favorite. Actually,
I think Viper and Anda are actually so freaking good at this game. Like And they're like, it feels like as a team identity, like they've kind of actually solved that, because I thought they'd be a little bit one-dimensional getting into like this stage of the tournament. The fact that they can only play through Viper Anda, that's what they were doing for all of Amateur. But then, honestly, against Barrage, like they showed that Seraphine comp with 5Fire playing that mid. They seeded early. They came back from a 2K goal deficit to win. Barrage kind of tossed, but still, like, that team playing different styles now is honestly terrifying, because I knew they could do it, like with 5Fire in the mid lane. Historically, 5Fire has been pretty versatile, but he was just only playing like for, dog mids for Anda. So seeing that like switch and him like really embrace utility in a couple of these games has been really good and really scary for the rest of the competition. I think Noorg are big favorites. I think Viper and Anda are playing out of their goddamn minds right now.
Yeah, I can agree to that. They're
crazy.
Definitely like on form. I also think maybe the only thing that's possible is like some of the Noorg players are playing on 11.8, so maybe it messes with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, referencing the Tyler 1 event.
Yeah, and also like I feel like we've seen so little of Cloud9 still, so who knows what they have like
That's true.
in store. But I think from what we've seen so far, like Noorg have looked very dominant. So it's very hard to go against them when C9A have been very like scrappy and messy in their wins.
I think that Schernfire is like, I still think the best matchup for Noorg though in this tournament is EG. I think the biggest threat.
You think Noorg would slam EG?
No. I think the best matchup against Noorg is EG. I think that JoJo and Contracts might be able to break 5Fire. Because 5Fire, like, he can play like, the sets, which are like pretty tough to break in the mid lane, but Contracts and JoJo have been playing really well mid jungle. And if they're able to break the mid lane, it may not be as easy for Noorg to set up the top side.
Okay.
That's why I think the EG matchup the best.
That's definitely possible. I feel like I'm not sure if Cloud9 have shown the same things, but they've been playing similar like champions in terms of like mid jungle 2v2. But I don't know if they've shown like the same amount of like synergy that EG has.
Yeah, the reason I'm not as worried about C9 is I think that there are too many champions bot that value can just not get killed by against King Isles.
Ooh. I don't know if the lane is the only form of like ramp that you have to get over to beat King Isles. Did you watch the team fights in the late game?
No, King is playing out of his mind this tournament as well. But
so before that
value
series,
just neutralizes bot lane and then they just win the rest of the map. And it's free.
Before that series, I was like, okay, the best player in this tournament is probably Contracts right now. He's way too good. That series happens, I'm like,
it's King.
The best player in the tournament is definitely King.
Yeah, no, King. Yeah,
he's so good.
Yeah, King's really good. But
yeah,
I don't.
Maybe he just 1v9s every team fight and wins the game. It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what he did against EG.
Yeah.
But
actually,
I think that the way that Noorg plays, though, they play to neutralize that lane. Like, they're going to... And I don't think you can take away the Senna and the Ezreal and the Seraphine from them. Like, the Ezreal is going to be contested, but Value's still going to get his hands on some shit where it's going to be like, all right, you are not going to win this lane. And then by the time we hit team fights, the rest of your team's down 4K gold. And we win. So...
King has played some Senna, but I don't think that the team looks as good when he's on Senna.
No, I think C9 banned Senna in that series.
Yeah.
I think you're crazy if you don't ban Senna against Noorg. Especially if you give him blue side.
Right. That's going to be fun.
Not sure if Cloud9 has the... I don't know, because I feel like they could do what Noorg does too and just match and like place for mid-jungle 2v2 and then translate their lead to top side, but I don't know if they've shown the same amount of success with it. So I guess we'll see, because they can do either side, right? So
yeah, no, they can definitely do either side. I think that Darshan might be on like Gangplank Horn duty. Darshan's looked really good on those champions, and if you're able, like once again, if you're able to neutralize that lane and then play through King, King definitely pays off. I think that fighting fire with fire, like playing in the Noorg strength, I don't know if that's the way that like I'd win that series if I'm C9. I think that Darshan has a ton of value on a lot of champions, and you can lead into that in this series and be like, all right, You're going to play Sion. You're going to play GP. You're going to play Ornn, who he's been playing a lot of Ornn over Sion, and we're just going to neutralize things, and King's going to carry us. Like, that's kind of what I expect from C9, but I'm curious to see if Noorg adapts, because, man, their Seraphine comp's been really scary, and if they can play something like that, like Value's undefeated on that champion this year, and Firefire just showed that like he's pretty damn good at it too. I think that, like, if you play something that neutralizes top like that, you can just opt into a Seraphine comp where, like, you're guaranteed to outscale, and you could like Seraphine Senna and just be fine. So I'm really curious.
Too broken on this patch.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see like how that best of 5 pans out.
Yeah,
I think it's a really intriguing matchup between the two upper bracket teams. But anyway, okay, so
that's Thursday, by the way.
It is, and if you had to pick who goes up, so you're taking EG over 100A. I'm in alignment. Which team though is going to face EG in that losers finals?
I think C9 will lose, so it'll be EG versus C9.
Okay.
Ooh.
Does that series in a best of 5 go differently?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably still goes to C9. Yeah, it'll just be C9, and then they'll lose to Noorg again in the finals.
Ooh. Okay.
Rosethorn is predicting the Amateur Kingdom.
Yeah.
All right. Here's my remaining bracket. You ready? So, I think C9 wins. So I think C9 goes to winners finals or grand finals. I think EG wins, and then I think EG wins, and then I think EG wins.
Wow. So he's just taking it all.
That's what I'm going with. I think EG reverse sweeps it all, and they get revenge on Cloud9 in the grand finals. That's my play.
Jojopian Kingdom.
Yeah. Cubby, what's yours?
I think Noorg gets beat in a 5-game series against C9 in the finals, and C9 takes it. I have a few. I think that C9 is the one team that stylistically can match up. I know that I just said the EG, I think, is the team that can break Noorg, but I don't think the EG gets the chance. I think that C9, if you give them 10 games, might be able to figure it out.
So you think Noorg wins the first best of 5, and then
Yes.
Cloud9 wins the second one?
Yes. I think
very intricate prediction you've got there.
I think that if you give C9 that much time and that much tape, and like their full staff is working on it at the moment, I think they can figure it out.
What if Noorg 3-0s in winners finals?
And I still think that C9 can go back and at least do better after that. Yeah.
That's a little bit of a disappointing answer, but that's okay.
I mean, like, we'll see. if Noorg like 25-minute pub stomps them 3 games straight, we'll see. I also we'll let Rosethorn in on a stat that I prepped too for the broadcast. So there has been Noorg throughout this season. It's not updated, but like the match that I did was the one against Barrage. At that point, they'd played 70 games. 51 of them were on blue side, and they had over a 75% win rate. So they love blue side, and it makes a lot of sense for them because Firefire can blind stuff like Zoe TF set. They can play for Prio. Anda they can like send a Kench early and like blind that. And Viper doesn't need counter to win top, which is disgusting. That's just how good their setups are. And blue side, it's easier to dive top with how the map's set up. And Anda always contests second red on that side. They dive top and force top laners off waves consistently on blue. They're so fucking good at it.
Yep.
But
they still lose to AP Twitch.
Yes, but if that
is true.
Noorg, if they start winning like that on red side, then I say they win it all. But I think that C9 will throw them off their game, and I think that Darshan's one of the few top laners in this tournament that is good enough to, absorb the pressure from Viper with that team. I think that Darshan as a player has slept on a lot, just given the fact that he's been around for a long-ass time.
Nice.
So, but that's where I would change my opinion and say that I think Noorg wins it all. Like I said, I think Noorg is the favorite coming in. I think that Noorg should be favored for all of these. But I think that C9, if you give them enough time to figure things out, I think that they win. I also love EG's matchup into Noorg. I think that's really hype. And if EG makes it to the finals, I got EG. But Yeah, we'll see. If Norwich starts winning on red side, that's where I change my mind. That's where that team just gets terrifying. So I think Five Fire's champion pool on red side changes a lot, and they can't execute the same strategy they do to set up top. Blue side's a big part of that. So, yeah, if they show that shit on red side, I'm terrified.
All right.
Yeah.
I am very excited for us all to be wrong and 100 Thieves wins the whole thing. That's going to be great.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I like the EG 100 Thieves matchup because I feel like those are the two teams with the best hands in the tournament, like pound for pound. Like, all those players, mechanically insane. Team play,
Sure.
sometimes lacking. But they make up for it with their hands a lot. So, I'm curious. I think that's just hype. Like, even that first series, right? Or the EG C9 one, like, even like EG gives C9 a run for their money, they just get beat by like Surnefire map play, right? So, yeah, and a couple close team
All
fights,
right.
but we'll see.
Well, very cool.
It's gonna be hype, man.
You can decline to answer this next question, Rosethorn, if you would like to. But moving away from the proving grounds or the remainder of spring, and looking at summer, what are your initial thoughts about the TSM jungler situation for Academy?
Oh, like with them. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It sucks, and it's kind of messed up, but what can you do? I think he was performing worse than most people thought he would perform, but he definitely was not the worst like player on the team for sure.
And he upped his game in proving grounds a lot.
Yeah,
He was playing a
I
lot
definitely
better in
agree
this
with that.
tournament. Yeah.
I think that's also because like his teammates for some reason just elevated their play too. Like Hanser in proving grounds is way different from Hanser in like regular season. Like I
Dude,
think.
Hanser was
true.
taking some names in this tournament.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
really surprised, but I don't know, maybe it's just like the playoffs buffs, but
Yeah.
yeah. I hope he finds another team because he was definitely playing like starting to play a lot better. So
Yeah, I definitely
Also,
agree.
coming over here and then going back would suck.
yeah.
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 Yeah, I definitely agree. I think he was really stepping it up for their later series, like their last two that they played. I think he looked really good. So I'm pretty bummed about it. But yeah, I don't know. I agree. I want to see him on another proving grounds team for sure. Whether that be like Academy or well, I don't. I feel like he probably wouldn't go to an amateur team, but yeah, I think he hasn't really been given a fair shake quite yet. So,
Yeah.
but
And hey,
the other
LCO too. That wig's
yeah,
popping. As much as it would,
that's true.
be a bummer to come over and then go back. Like the team representing that, them at MSI could easily get through because they're in the 3-team group too. They just have to beat the non-LPL team, which
Yeah.
is I think LCL, like where they're being represented by Unicorns of Love, possibly.
Yeah, I think that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other part to that question, Rosethorn, is with that spot being open, and also the announcement from a couple of months ago where TSM is making an amateur team, supposedly. Might not be ready in time, but they might. Who do you think is going to fill that jungle spot? If you had to promote somebody from amateur.
Are you saying
Like,
into
who?
their academy spot?
Yeah.
Um,
Assuming, okay, I'll give you a caveat. Assuming that Anda is probably getting a ridiculously good offer. Can't be him.
right. I mean, for sure, like the first names that pop up are like the amateur junglers who were in proving grounds, right? So it's and I mean I guess you can count Winston because he was on Solo Fide.
Right.
Tomio, Panda, RBM, Yami. So I guess those are like the first names that pop up.
Fnatic.
Oh yeah, Fnatic too. Yeah,
Mhm.
I guess. I think Fnatic's also a really good player. So
Yeah.
I guess if you're not if we can't say Anda, then I guess he would be like the first name that I would think.
Yeah.
There are some like solo queue junglers who are like really high up in the ladder right now. Like there's there's
Poor
like
Sheedon.
oh yeah, sure. Yeah, there's Shaden.
Yeah. He's got to wait 6 months.
There's a guy named Yuji who's been like who just like randomly popped up this year. Hypers like just at rank 5 or something.
You mean Boogie or
No, Yuji.
oh Yuji? Okay.
Yuuji. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think there's like a very big list, like whether they can take it from solo queue or they can take from like the top amateur teams.
There's even Trickster too, who
Yeah, there's yeah. Well, I mean he can't play, but
Yeah,
yeah, I guess there's Trickster too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
He and
yeah,
Sheehan are
Tricks.
gonna
I
be
think
coming
Trickster
back
can
next
play
year.
this next split.
I don't think he can play in summer.
No, it was one. It's
It's a 1 year.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he and Sheehan are back for spring of 2022.
Okay.
So if they both land on rosters, that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to know if there were any up and coming junglers that we may have missed. I always think that's a fun thing.
Mhm.
I'll have to look out for that guy.
I think it's really easy to see from just Proving Grounds circuit
Right.
and like Proving Grounds as well. Like if you're gonna be able to compete in like the top amateur, like with the top amateur teams and even with like academy teams, then you probably like deserve a shot. So
And then there's Boogie, who's ranked
and there's
1.
Boogie, yeah,
He's on an LJL team, right?
or Lan.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
my mistake. He
He's
was
on
on
a
an
Japan
LJL
team playing on the NA server, and he had rank.
Yeah, my mistake. Because he was on
He's that
he was
good.
on the he was on the LJL team that made it to Worlds last year. So that's where I got mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he runs the server
right.
apparently.
Apparently.
Also, Trickster
Yeah.
is out until next year, so just
Yep.
double check that. You are correct. My bad. I was hoping to see him in the spring or the summer.
So
but yeah.
regarding solo queue jungle prospects, I wanted to get your opinion on this too, because last year you qualified for scouting grounds off of solo queue. You made it to the main event through your performance on the ladder. By all accounts, unless they announce it really late in the year, that system is gone for this year and for the foreseeable future. What are your thoughts on that as someone who just recently made it into academy off of that system?
I think in previous years, scouting grounds was like it didn't produce a lot of results. Like players weren't really picked up from it, or at least not like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I think this, like in my year, it just happened to be that most of us did get picked up. So I think coming off of that, like removing scouting grounds kind of sucks, especially since it was also supposed to be like, oh, you get to have like a 1 week trip to LA and then you get to like meet all these players, meet all the coaches. Like it was supposed to be like a fun thing, I guess too. But I think Proving Grounds like does a good job replacing that. So hopefully teams are going to put more like of their like focus on scouting within Proving Grounds as than they did in like scouting grounds. But yeah, I also think that scouting grounds was like you get to see some of these players for a week and it's like maybe some of them aren't just like ready to be developed, especially because even though they have like the one trick rule, you can just get by playing 4 champions. And
Yeah.
since you're only playing solo queue, like you could technically only play solo queue, so you could have a really like skewed view and like really limited like knowledge about the game. So it's just not as realistic to pick someone up from scouting grounds as it is from like Proving Grounds. So again, I think Proving Grounds is a much better format and a better way to scout players.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I
definitely
see
like the team aspect of it a lot. I think that's been the most fun part of it for me, is that you get to see each like player play in a team environment throughout the entire split. I think that's really cool.
I hope some of those solo queue players like hop on Proving Grounds teams too. I mean, their rank's insane. They're really good. I know that Hyper played for ISU, Illinois State.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he's very high up in the ladder right now. So, I mean, like those guys, if they feel like it's time to hop on a team, I mean, maybe that's just the new path. And even, I mean, like the great part about amateur, hopefully this year and like moving into like the future years is, even if your team like didn't finish great, you had 70 plus games to prove yourself and your own skill for a lot of these teams. So, I mean, hopefully with all that footage, scouts are able to make more accurate decisions and depictions of whether who should make it and who shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
If all the teams are doing their jobs. So hopefully that just leads to better like decisions and the right talented players getting promoted. And we find 5 new Rosethorns in Academy next split. So it's exactly what we
Hey.
want, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Claudia.
No, but yeah, I think that kind of path definitely makes more sense too. It's like, oh, you're like really good at solo queue and you're mechanically talented. It's like, oh, then you can like play in a team environment in amateur and see how good you are there. It's like,
Yeah.
like even with Jojopion, who was high on the ladder for the entire like 2020, like he did not look as good as he does now, like when he was like first starting out, right?
Oh yeah.
And like imagine if he like played in proving grounds like an amateur team, and then like he had some more experience, like then like have a starting spot in academy afterwards. Like I think that kind of transition is going to be like better for the players and for the teams.
I think this year is just really, really nice when it gets to the Proving Grounds playoffs, especially because teams like yours and like Evil Genius's Academy, who placed bottom 2 in the regular season. Granted, it was half as many like games, or even
Low
less
sample
than that, 'cause
size.
It was best of it was 9 games rather than 18.
Some visa
but-
issues for EGA too.
Yes.
No.
But for you to be able to go to playoffs, make top 8, which is still very good, by the way. I want to throw in that's the top half of the tournament. If it was last year and you got top half, you would have placed 3rd. Pretty good. Anyway, that's beside the point. The fact that you guys who were the bottom 2 teams got to play in the playoffs and got to show how much that time has benefited you like developmentally, and the Evil Genius is still in the top 4 too, is just so cool. And I think that part of it is really, really nice, because yeah, a team like Team Liquid can have 4 games and be out, but it's way better than it was last year, where you could not even make it to the playoffs to begin with, and even if you did, you could have just 3 bad games and you're out completely, because it's just one best of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a really cool thing, and it really shows like a longer form of development that extends even into like best of 3, best of 5 territory, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Double LM, so like
Yeah.
I mean, if we got knocked out of proving grounds from playing no org and then we're out, oh man, that's just sad.
Yeah, that would have
sucked.
That would have
Yeah.
been the worst.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of having a tournament that is fundamentally different from the LCS, which this is. This is not just LCS, but worse, which is what Academy has been branded as for the like past few years, and what the regular season was branded as too. So I'm really glad this is just fundamentally different. Like it's people. There was a Reddit thread yesterday talking about NA talent and the fact they have enjoyed watching Proving Grounds, because the quality of gameplay, you guys have. All the teams have really put their best foot forward. I mean, it's been pretty decent gameplay we've seen. Obviously, there are mistakes, but there are mistakes in any game, right? And it's just a different format. It's an entertaining tournament. Like, it always blew my mind why Academy was ran alongside LCS in like the same format. Like, why would I want to watch the same thing but worse, right? This is branded differently, so it's being treated differently, and I think it's going over a lot better with viewers as well. And I know that one of the big problems that we've faced as casters, and you've probably faced as a player in the community too, is like convincing people that NA actually has talented players and has a pipeline of talents coming up. Is it as big as China or Korea? No, but are we working on it? Yes, and it feels like community sentiment's very much changed around that this year, at least from what we felt. So that's step one, right? Like that helps. And I think a part of the budgets being cut and forcing the hand of that helps too. I think Proving Grounds, the format change, helps a lot as well. But, I mean, we'll take it all. Like, we need all the help we can get, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Whoever decided to change this format, they just really went behind our
Ice Chest and Whooply.
amateur system.
Yes,
Yep.
right, Ice Chest
very
and
cool.
right, Whooply. There were a few hiccups. There was Big League, but yeah, overall it was
That's
a
not their
much better change. Yeah, overall, like this compared to Scouting Grounds, has been a lot more fun and entertaining, and more big TOs that come into the space too, which helps. So that's always good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more topic that I actually just found. So this is an interesting thing.
Is this live?
Um
Live reporting from
yeah,
Smackscast?
so sort of a live announcement. It was released on Twitter a little bit ago. But we have our first official roster announcement for the Proving Ground split. It is an entirely new team. And they will be playing in the summer Proving Grounds. So this team is called Area of Effect, and the team is comprised of these players: Chim in the top lane, who I really enjoy; Jazzy in the jungle; Competition is mid; Short Hop is bot lane; and Pocus is the support. And I think that's pretty cool.
That's
I
not
think that,
bad.
yeah, I'm pretty excited for that roster. I don't know. I don't know if they like just off of like name value alone. I don't know if they make the playoffs, but I think that's gonna be a really cool, fun roster to watch. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I'm a Conf9 fan, so he's pretty good. I like the
Nice.
roster.
Wait, Comp 9's not Array, right? Because I know that Array used to
No.
go by Comp Array.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That is Competition 9. He's a mid laner.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Short Hop, Pocus, Comp 9, Shim. Yeah, it's still gonna be a one-dimensional roster. They gotta if they can show they can play more than one style, which probably can't, but we'll see. We'll see. If that team can start to play different styles, then maybe I'll be impressed. But
I think Chim's pretty good.
yeah, but he's only good on tanks.
Yeah, I know, but I think you can work on that.
Yes, he needs to work on that. But
Everyone
his
can
tank play is
work on
outstanding.
anything.
Yeah. I didn't say that he needs to work on it. I said that he can work on it. That's the difference.
I'm gonna say he needs to. Yeah.
I'm optimistic about this.
Okay.
I think Chim's got it.
I think his tank play is phenomenal. And if he shows carry play, all of a sudden he's turning heads. But yeah.
Well, all he has to do is slap a P at the end of his name, and he can play Wukong. So
quality joke there, Smacks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know AOE's been poking around like some of the tier 3 tournaments at the moment. So if their intent is to play in Proving Grounds, maybe they can bring it and try and qualify. Yeah. I'm actually curious what's going to happen with those qualifiers, because if more academy teams are going to compete, it's going to be really tough to figure out who gets to compete against them, right? Because the academy teams are not going to have to qualify most likely. So that means less spots as well. And broadcasts are going to be thinner because there aren't as many days for tournaments to run on broadcast. So I don't think we're going to see a 32-team qualifier, which is going to be tough. So we'll see. But yeah, that'll all be very curious to see once that pans out. But Rosethorn, I know we've kept you for a little bit over an hour, but about an hour on the podcast recording, and it sounds like Smacks is out of questions to talk about. I must say too.
That was my breaking news.
Breaking news with Smacks.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you have anything to wrap up with?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize this.
I can talk forever. Cubby,
Smacks always surprises me.
Yeah.
Always constantly impressed and surprised.
So my last question for you, Rosethorn, before we start wrapping this up is, how do you feel about people calling you Rosie in Twitch chat? Because I do it every time, and I want to know if it bothers you.
I have mixed opinions on it. I just let it happen. It's fine.
Do you want me to stop?
It is what it is. Do you say it in chat or in broadcast? If it's in broadcast,
Oh, I don't say it on the broadcast.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
I think I might have said it on the broadcast once.
Oh no.
But
Oh no!
I mostly just say it in Twitch chat. I don't want to say that I'm completely guiltless. I probably have, because I say it in Twitch chat every time.
I think it's fine in Twitch chat. It's funny, I guess.
Okay.
It's a statement made out of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rosie, why'd people happy? That's the message.
Yeah. Also, it's got to be Rosie as in the IE, not the Y. That's the real meta.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Rosethorn.
I got that out of the way. Phew.
There we go. All right, Smacks is safe, guys. He can continue living without a chip on his shoulder. Rosethorn, man, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a blast sitting down with you for an hour, catching up about your play, moving into GGA, your season, your success in Proving Grounds, top 8. Obviously not all that, it's not top 1, but hey, respectable finish and nice.
Yeah.
I mean, a great split for you and a lot of signs of improvement. It's been really fun to watch that from you and the rest of your squad. So, any shout outs? Floor is yours. Anything that you want to say before we start to wrap things up and let you go?
Yeah, shout out to Golden Guardian staff for really helping us smurf our season. Be Nick Smith and Arrow, Spooks, Choo Choos, and Swiper, and the managers Danon and Platypus for giving me a chance. And shout out to my teammates who will eventually make one LCS one day, maybe soon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Roster league section. Let's go.
All right, wrap it up. No.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Rosethorn. It's been so fun having you on the show. I'm really glad we got the chance to talk to you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you've got for us in the summer, because I know it's not just us in this call who's really excited about your roster. You guys made some really big waves, so very exciting stuff.
It was a lot of fun talking to you guys. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
Yeah, absolutely.
pleasure's all ours, man. It's a blast. Thanks for sitting down with us and putting up with our clown questions and clown color caster takes in the amateur scene. So we appreciate it. Anyway, Smacks, walk us out.
Yes. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Proving Grounds Pod with Rosethorn. If you've made it all the way this far, again, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you want to support us on Twitter, definitely feel free to do that. It's pgroundspod. We post a bunch of updates, and you get to see Cubby's SpongeBob memes when my computer dies, which hopefully never happens again. I did just get new parts, so if that happens again,
Tomorrow for sure was way too perfect, man.
Problem. Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can check us out on all of our audio platforms, Spotify, iTunes, or Apple, SoundCloud, or not SoundCloud, not that one.
YouTube.
Google, YouTube, Twitch, and Anchor as well. So all those ones, they're there for you to listen to. And yeah, we will be back next time when the Proving Grounds playoffs wraps up.
Wow.
That'll be after
Holy
Sunday,
shit.
so we'll probably be back on Monday.
Wow. All right. We'll try
Yeah,
and
the
get
next
a
time-
winner's interview. That's the goal.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the goal.
Next time you hear from us on this, the tournament will be over. So definitely tune into that one. It'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over there on the LCS and Academy channels at 6 Eastern or 3 Pacific. So
Smacks, want to tease some things for the fans if they made it this
we
far?
absolutely do.
All right.
If you're listening this far, then you get a bonus. Tune in Thursday, especially, where you will see me on the broadcast again. They brought me back for a third time because they like me so much, or some other reason. Hopefully
Maybe they hate
it's
us.
that one.
Maybe they want to
Yeah.
roast us.
But yeah, and then Cubby's on as well. Which day you got, Cubby?
I got losers finals on Saturday, so that should be very fun. So looking forward to that. And honor to be brought back, and one more roundabout way to ramp up Proving Grounds as losers finals and grand finals will be our good friend Rafa as well, representing the amateur community well. So yeah.
Very exciting.
Anyway, thanks so much for listening, Rosethorn. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't think we have much else to say besides see you guys next time.